Hey there, I'm going to talk about a DMO suit today. So my name is Chrissy and my daughter is severely handicapped. She has a rare genetic disorder that caused her to regress and lose her abilities. She cannot hold her head up. She cannot hold her chest up, her core. She can't stand. She can't sit on her own. However, before she regressed, she was just kind of delayed before we found out her genetic disorder. So when she was about 7 months, she just was not moving a whole lot, and we had to start physical therapy right away. And one of the things that we were encouraged to get early on, so I think my daughter was probably about 8 or 9 months old, but we were encouraged to get a DMO suit. So DMO is a dynamic movement orthosis, I think is how they say it. And it's a DMO suit, and these are really popular. I feel like on the East Coast, there's a ton of reps for it and providers that you can work with to get them ordered. I feel like they're a little bit less known or less used in other parts of the country. And we were so thankful that my daughter's physical therapist actually was the one who encouraged us to get it really early on. We think it was incredibly important for her development and strengthening even before she regressed, for building muscle and tone and even just her growth and development, bone, all that sort of stuff. So her spine, she has the risk of major curvature happening over time, and I really think because we worked with her on strengthening when she was young and wore the suits, that for us at least, it's really been helpful with protecting her spine and trying to keep that as straight as possible. And so my daughter's actually had 3 suits. This is her 3rd one. So I'm going to show you what the suit looks like. So this is what a DMO suit. She is currently 6 years old. So this is a 6-year-old size suit. What's cool about these suits is every single suit is custom made. Now, the benefit of that is that it's exactly made to fit your kid and to work specifically for your kid, the areas they need support and stimulation in. The negative is it does take a while to get them ordered. So typically when you go to order one, you go into a session with a rep and they will measure every inch of your kid's body and talk through the different supports needed and where, if they have a G-tube, then where do you want the G-tube opening and zippers and all that sort of stuff. And so they will talk through all of that and they will say, okay, it may take 3 months to get the suit. And that can be hard because if your kid's in a lot of growth, then it can be tricky because the suit can come and be a little bit more snug than you want. But if you have a rep that can really measure well, then they try to measure and have a little bit of margin for growth. So the suit will still be snug, but where they try to give a lot of growth is more in like length, and they do allow for a little bit of growth in width. But it does take sometimes 3 months to get it. It's because they're made in the UK and it just takes time for it to be made and then shipped and go through customs. But we have found it to be so worth it. We love these suits and they've been hugely helpful for our daughter. And so kind of the 3 things that we love about the suit is, one, it specifically is giving stimulation and input to our daughter's brain in the key areas that she needs it. So where they add in additional support and or restriction or tension, that's going to be communicating to her brain to pay attention to those areas when she has the suit on. And we have found this to be really helpful in that way. 2, we love it because it gives support, and especially because our daughter, we like to say she's kind of like a wet noodle. Like, she doesn't have the muscle tone and ability to hold her body up. And so when you're moving her, or when you're in physical therapy and you're trying to work on sitting or standing or walking, then it gives her this immense amount of structure and support to make doing physical therapy so much easier. Like, our physical therapist loves that we use this suit because it's giving that positioning and support that allows then the physical therapist to work on other movements. And so it gives a lot of awesome structure. And then lastly, we love it because it's helpful in moving her and positioning her from her wheelchair. We typically wear our suit all day except for when she's resting. And so if she's lying down to rest or if she's sleeping, she does not wear her suit. And I don't think they allow you to wear these at night, but I'm not positive on that. But we don't do it when she's sleeping at all. So anytime she's awake during the day, she's going to have her suit on, and this is going to be giving her the support that she needs. So yeah, we like it because it makes it easier for us and our nurses to move her and position her correctly. So again, it's giving her that structure and support that she needs to have her body in a good position during transfers, as well as getting her in and out of her wheelchair, or positioning her in and out of equipment or her stander. So this has been awesome for that. So I just want to walk through the suit, what's cool about it. This is what the suit looks like when it's all zipped up. So this is kind of the end, and we're going to start at the end. So this is what the suit looks like. They have some breathability in the armpit areas. My daughter, because she has a G2 button, this is a flap that opens to be able to access her button so that you can do feeds and water and stuff like that. Because her button is located where it is, the zipper that she needs for getting on and off is actually angled. This zipper right here is for stomach relief. So if you're feeding and you're sitting, your stomach is more has more pressure on it. So you unzip this to give some relief so that when they're feeding, you're not having this restriction that could cause reflux. So those are kind of the zippers there. And then all of them have this ability. My daughter's still in a diaper, and she will probably always be in a diaper. And so this is a really great feature. You can keep the whole suit on and still change a diaper. So all you do is, this is open in here, and there's a zipper on the outside and the inside of the suit. So, and I'll show you what we do when we get the suit on. But if you're already have the suit on and you're doing diaper changing, all you do is unzip the two center pieces like that. And then you just roll up the outside flaps and you can do a diaper change. And then you just pull it back down and zipper back in. So this one has been great to be able to wear during the day and not have any issues with feeding or diapering. So when you go to put on the suit, everything's unzipped. So there's lots of zippers on this suit. And then there's a back zipper. So when it's all undone, it looks all floppy and crazy. But we typically will kind of roll it down like this and pull up from my daughter's feet to her waist and get all of her seams positioned on her body first before we start to zip it up. So she has a very specific weight and back support on hers, as well as side seams for support. So we want to make sure all that's lined up correctly on her hips. Once it's all in place, and then we also make sure that her G button is right in the center of that pocket. So before you zip everything up, you want to make sure that's right where it needs to be, because it's a pain once you get it all zipped and then you realize the button's too far over and you don't want any pressure there. So once you get this kind of placed where you want it, then we start to zip in. So we'll zip her legs up. So outside and inside legs get zipped. They have these little zipper cover spots for the inside of the leg. This is important because the zipper can kind of buckle and put pressure and kind of poke the kid. So these little flaps flip over the zipper to make sure that it's not putting any pressure sores on your child's leg. And that's really important. Otherwise they'll get little marks on their legs and it'll kind of pinch them. So you want to make sure everything's flat and smooth when you load into your suit, so that there's no chance for pressure sores, because pressure sores are a big pain, as everyone knows. So we zip in the legs. Once the legs are zipped, then we go to zip the chest. As we pull it up, so before you zip the chest, you actually have to load in their arms. And the rep that I worked with, they had us grip the inside of this shoulder pad. If you just kind of pull on the material, there is chances that in the thinner spots you could get a tear or a rip. So she told us to grip all the way in past the shoulder pad and really make sure this is pulled up onto the child's shoulder, because you want this, again, this padding and seams and extra sewing is all to support the shoulder when you're doing arm activities. So you don't want this to be too far down their shoulder. You want to make sure it's pulled all the way up top to give them the support that they need in the front and the back of their shoulder for doing activities. And so that's why she said to kind of pull in and pull up as high as you can and get this positioned and get her arm in. So once her arms are in, then we zip her front chest piece. So we're gonna zip this up, and then we're gonna zip in her nice little tummy. And then the last zipper is you actually roll them on their side if they can't stand, and then you zip in the back last. And that's because it goes and it pulls them in. So when we go to zip the back, we actually kind of have to pull it around her body and get it nice and snug and make sure it's right in the middle, and then zip her in. And again, there's protection here from her body in the zipper. So again, this suit is awesome. I know there's kids who aren't as severely handicapped that wear these. Then there's kids who are super, super handicapped. They work great on tons of different kids, and they have different styles and different ways to support the child. But since my daughter needs like full support, then she wears this. So it hits right before her elbow and right above her knee. They come in different colors. You can wash them easily. And these have worked great. This is our third one. And like I said, our daughter started before she was 1 with a suit, and we've had 3 of them. And so we've had some good growth over time with the suits. And she's been able to, because they do give a lot of relief areas and stuff like that. So and it does also, depending on what suit you get, at least all I know is for my daughter's suit, it came with a hard shell abdomen brace that you can also use in conjunction with this. So we didn't use it at the beginning, but now that she's getting taller and having some other issues going on, we've been using that a little bit more with this when she's sitting in her wheelchair, but not when we're doing physical therapy. We don't use the hard case when we're wanting to specifically work on muscle movement and triggering. And so we will wear this to be able to do her stander, her walker, sitting, kneeling, all that stuff. But this has been awesome for us and we love it. I hope that's helpful to see what it's like.